Hello, my name is Tu. In this video, I'll be demonstrating on how do we create a geometry as such, which is a stair geometry. How do we model this object in ZW3D 2017? So to begin with, we'll close everything and start from scratch. So now let's create a new file and just put a unique name for this new file. For example, stair2. Okay. And we'll quickly create the geometry. Probably you would like to create the geometry somewhere from the center point of this drawing. So for reference, this is the center point. The center point contains 3 different datum planes for geometry construction. If you would like to create the construction somewhere else, you can create additional datum planes from this command here. For example, I'm doing now. Click on this datum plane and choose this red datum and do an offset. So at the same time, you can see the real-time set values at here. So let's say I put a value of 600 millimeters and click the green arrow to accept it. So the new datum plane is actually located here, and you can start to create your geometry at this datum plane. So now let's try to use, for example, to create new sketches at this plane. So go to the Shape tabs and click on the first button on the left side, the sketch, and choose the plane. By clicking the green arrow, that means I hope you enjoy the y-axis is always pointing to the upside and the x-axis is always pointing to the right side. So if you would like to change the axis orientation, probably you need to input a value here, but I will show you the default orientation first. As you can see, the y is always pointing up and the x is always pointing to the right side. So let's try to continue from here, and if your view orientation is not normal to the sketch orientation, you can right click and choose plane view so that it will go back to the planar view of the sketching. Okay, now let's try to create a stair geometry. You can create your stair geometry with reference to this number here, 1900 millimeters. This value refers to the vertical distance from the bottom edge here to the top boundary. To demonstrate this value, let me quickly create a vertical line. So I can go to the sketch tabs and click on this draw button. Draw a vertical line from approximately the top to the bottom here, and I will do a middle click to exit this command. And now let's try to measure this length. So go to the constraint tab and choose quick dimension. Choose this length here, and you can see this value is very close. It's very close to this bottom value here. So that means you can always refer to this value to construct your geometry. The reason our values is much shorter because there are still some tiny gaps over here. Okay, therefore the vertical length is shorter. So assuming that your stair geometry is having a total length height of approximately 2000 millimeters, so we can approximately zoom ourselves to this range here, and then we can start to create the lines. So we'll click on this draw button, and probably we need to create from the center point of the sketch, so probably from this point here for a reference, and choose a point here, do a middle click to exit the command once, and click again to draw with reference to the dashed line. You can ensure there is a vertical alignment, so probably I'll do this. Okay, exit it, and now we can create vertical lines to draw the thinner members in between. So this is one vertical line, and we can create another vertical line as such. So then about the intermediate members, we can try to use the offset command and choose this line to or you can choose to offset from here or choose to offset from here. And and the distance of offset is defined here. The numbers to offset is defined here, so I can use a mouse scroll to actually show the numbers of new lines created. So click OK and accept the settings. So now I would like to explain a bit about the symbols here and the symbols here. So this symbol represents a horizontal constraint. That means this line will always remain horizontal whenever the sketch adjusts itself. However, there are no constraints for this line. So I will show you I will talk more about this as we move on. So let's try to do a power trim to trim off the extended excessive members here. So we can click on this power trim and do a left drag button. So we drag the left mouse button to remove the excessive member here, and you can notice that there is an additional symbol here which is called on line. That means the point is on that line. This symbol only occurs at the top and is not at the bottom. That means this curve can actually move around, so which is probably not what you want. So you need to add additional constraint for the bottom members. So let's try to put some dimensions and constraints. So first of all, we will constrain this location. Choose this point here and this line, and choose the constraint is automatically highlighted by default, which is called constraint point to be collinear. That means the point will be at that curve. Click OK, and you can see that there is an additional symbol here that represents the intersecting. Okay, now let's try to do some dimension adjustment. We can use the quick dimension button here and choose to change the height of this line from 905 to another value, which is 1200. Okay, and you can see this is what I mean, because the constraint is only defined between the point and this line here, and the others does not have the constraint. Therefore, you can see the separation. For this case, you can use go back to the sketch and try to use extend buttons. So let's try to do extend and choose these curves, and the destination is here. So this is to do things one by one. This is to do things one by one. And the other method we can use is to add a constraint. Choose the points here and choose the line here again and click the green arrow to accept the constraint. So what are the fastest methods to do this? Probably we can find and try to do extend to corner. Let's try this. So this is not the desired output, so probably we cannot do this. So we need to do undo command, and we need to do it slowly for this case. So we'll use the constraint method and use point on lines. Choose the curves as this curve, and the points you can choose these 4 points. So click the green tick, and all the lines will be touching the bottom lines. So this is something we can use to ensure that all the members are linked together. So the next thing you can see is all the members, even though they are connected together, they can still move around freely because we did not define a dimension for them. So for this case, probably we need to define some dimensions. You can use the quick dimension button here and choose the particular members and assign a dimension, for example 1800. And notice that the members at the middle, they actually have some inclination because the vertical constraints are not defined on them. So we can use the vertical constraint here and choose all the curves at the middle, and by doing so we can ensure that they are always vertical. And now we can drag this line here and see the changes. So if you want to have some specific dimensions between the gaps, you can always use the quick dimensions button and choose a dimension, choose these two lines and place the dimension at the bottom and put a value to ensure that the distance between the lines are always as per defined. So we also can choose the entire model members and put a value for it. Let's say 3000. Okay, so I hope you know how to use this commands here. Now let's say if I'm satisfied with this setting, I can but first of all I will need to delete this line because this is it's not relevant to the model. Now once I'm satisfied, I can click on this button here to exit the sketch. Now I have the sketch. The next thing I will need to do is to create a 3D object. The fastest way we can do is go to the Shape tab and use the Sweep Rod command here. Sweep Rod command actually allows you to create tube objects in a single command. For example, this line I would like to have dimensions and the internal and external dimension as such. So let's try to put the value. Right. So this is the shape it looks like. Okay, now let's try to, I would like to cancel this because I have something important to tell you. Because by default, when we enter this command, the selection is on all. That means it actually selects all the lines. If I do a quick selection, as you can see. So this is probably not what you want because you would like to have different cross-section for the top members and also the intermediate members. So if you encounter this kind of situation, what you need to do is you need to deselect the sketch. So you need to extend the curve column and deselect the sketch. Change the selection type from all typed to curves only in order to enable some specific selection, some specific sketch selection on that sketch. Let's say I would like to select these two members only, and I accept this setting. Click on the green arrow, and this will be my main tube members. For the intermediate members, we can do another Sweep Rod command and choose the curves and the middle. So let's quickly do a left mouse drag, select all the members here, put a smaller, probably a smaller size dimension, and click on the green tick again. So this is how we can have a different cross-section for different members. So the next thing that we notice is probably there is some intersections between the top members and also the intermediate members as such. So we need to do some trimming operations. So to do the trimming operation, you can use the trim command here. So this is the trim command. We need to choose the object to be trimmed. This object probably cannot be trimmed because the trimming profile is not fully cover the object to be trimmed. So we will left this later. And we will do this operation first. For example, we will trim this member and all the members at the middle by using trimming object. So let's by default, I would like to tell you that the default setting here is a shape trimming. So shape trimming probably is not what you want because the shape trimming will only trim the shape. We use the entire shape. We use the entire shape to do the trimming. So let me show you a quick result of this undesired outcome. So click on the green tick, and we can quickly hide temporarily the top member, and you can see there are still some remainings on the top side here. So this remaining should be removed actually. So we need to remove this. So if we do a proper trimming, this part will be removed. So how do we do that? Then we'll need to go back to the trim we need to edit this definition. Go back to redefine, and we need to remove this this shape and change it to the external face only. So let's try to do unblank all. So it says it's unable to show the top member while during the operation. So so for this case, we have no choice. We need to go back. We have to exit the command operation first. Now we try to do this operation, unblank all to show the top member, and we'll quickly do an edit here. Change the trimming object, remove the default shape, and change it to a face. Now this time we'll choose the external face only and observe the results. Now this time I will blank this top member, and you can see that even the remainings of the tube is now removed. So this is a better outcome. And also we can, not to forget the bottom side, also we need to do the same thing. So we can do all in one command. So just right click and redefine the trimming operation again. And for the trimming profile, we can choose the top external face and also the bottom external face at the same time to do the trimming. So now let's do a quick blank, and this is what you get. For the members here, probably you need to make sure that the trimming profile is fully enclosing the trimming object. So what we can do is we can try to do a direct edit. Use the direct edit move command to quickly extend the top and bottom member. So choose the top and also the bottom member, and use the dynamic coordinate system here to drag to extend the top and the bottom members. And also you can put a specific value here if you want to have a precise adjustment. Okay, so by doing so, we can make sure that the trimming operation will be fully covered by the trimming profile. And for this end also, we just need to do the same thing. Select this edge and also the edge here. Let's say if I accidentally select the wrong face, I can hold my control key and do a left click again to deselect the mistaken selection. So this is how we can deselect an object. Okay, now let's say I'll demonstrate again. Do a left click here. Now how do we deselect this particular face? By holding down the control key button and do a left click once again to remove it. Now let's drag the dynamic coordinate system again and click the green tick. Now let's quickly do another trim operation. So choose this object and this object to be trimmed. Make sure the trimming profile is by using a face command, face selection. Only choose the external face of the members and click the green tick again. Now go to the shape and blank to hide it temporarily, and you can see that the trimming operation is successful. Now after all this, we already get a rough image of the stair members. The next thing probably you want to do is you can always adjust the gap between the internal members again by going back to the sketch. So this is my geometry history. The sketch is here. If you want to adjust the gap, you can right click on the sketch and click redefine. Now here we can adjust the sketch again. Probably we move this closer and move this closer to this left member so that we can notice there is a significant larger gap in between here. And also we can put some dimensions to make a precise adjustment, for example 200. Now let's say I'm satisfied with this setting, I can go back to my 3D and you can notice there is a larger gap here. So I think that's it for this simple video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.